everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Jezreel Talks. As you can see, we are in a different environment.
Ooh.
And so a lot of things have changed, a lot of things that are going on with Jezreel. And so if you haven't seen us in a while, don't worry, everything is okay. We have a lot of great and wonderful information to share with you guys, some exciting things are happening with us. And so today's topic is how to go about renting in Ghana. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that, some things that you can do to kind of protect yourself in terms of signing leases and things like that, looking at the place that you're about to rent, what to look for. And so we'll get into more of that. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing, clicking the notification bell so that you can be notified when all videos are posted, and also clicking that like button. All right, guys, so we've missed you guys. So let's go ahead and jump right into today's conversation. All right, guys, so today we're going to be talking about the things that you can do to protect yourself in terms of rentals, right? And so I know a lot of you guys are looking online. The Most High is sending you to Ghana. He's confirmed for you that Ghana is the place for you to be. And so the natural thing is to do research, right? And so you're online, you're looking around at what is the best situation or the best location for you to be in. Maybe you're considering your budget. Maybe you're considering schools, hospitals, and things of that nature. And so we want to kind of help you out in terms of once you find the place that you want to set eyes on and that you want to sign, and this place looks like it's the perfect place to be your new home. What should you do next, right? So what is the next steps for you to do? And so for me, I would say the first thing that I would want you to do is kind of go and check out the place, right? Make your way there, check it out, look at the scenery, what's going on around it, look at the compound. If it's a house, look at the compound. Make sure you check to see everything, the water pressure, how the toilets flush. I mean, these things can seem like, of course these things should work, but you never know. Some things may look nice but not be functional, right? And so we want to help you in those ways. And so that's what I would say. Check out, make sure your boots on the ground, as they say, get into the space and kind of really like start tinkering, right? Start turning on stuff, turning off stuff, let things run. You know, you want to open up every window and close it, right? Make sure they open and close properly, right? Flush those toilets. Make sure they flush the way that they're supposed to flush. Turn on that sink. Make sure the water is flowing the way it's supposed to flow.
Flush those toilets.
Flush those
toilets. Hashtag flush those toilets.
Yes, but it's true, right? It's funny, but it's true, right? Because the worst thing that you can do is get into a place and you done handled your business, and then your business is not business. I'm just saying. So those are the things, and some things you might want to, check for, right? And another thing I heard, like people need, it doesn't hurt to ask, like, how often do they flush their system out? Right. And as far as like waste and things of that is concerned, like, is it something that's done regularly or maybe not? And so, that might pose another set of issues. All right. So I'll let someone else go ahead and jump right on in.
So renting in Ghana is so vastly different. We went over a lot of things that you should do prior or when you're looking for a place to stay long term. And if you haven't seen that video, we can put it somewhere. It'll be somewhere here. But definitely check that video out. A lot of us are familiar already with the fact that in Ghana, you're paying a larger amount. You're paying at least for the year. If you're looking at like furnished or unfurnished. Furnished places you can kind of find for a shorter term, but if you're looking for a longer term, you're paying for like a year, maybe even 2-year lease. It's a lot of money at one time. And so what I will say also, things to consider when it's coming to rentals here. How did you obtain your place? What do I mean by that? If you came here and you found an agent to take you, to the rental that you found, and you found the rental that he took you to and you liked it, and you said, oh, I want to stay here. what is your agreement with the agent that took you? Is there an agreement there? Like, are you obligated to pay the agent as well as, your landlord now? Be mindful of these things. In most cases, yeah, you do have to pay the agent a commission, and then also pay your rent to your landlord. So yeah, that is what I will say. I'll pass it off to Moses.
Yeah, I think yeah, you said a lot of good things, and starting from even where Madam Sadie put it, you have to visit the place, which is very good, and check out all the stuff that she said. It's so important because I always say that pictures are good, they do a good job, videos are good, but what we always forget is that the pictures don't come with the smell in the place. They don't come with the smell. And so you see the picture is so nice and so good. You like it. Oh, I love the place. I like the place. I want to, make payment for it. If it's possible, make your way here, inspect it yourself, make sure it's up to your standard or your taste before you make payment. But one crucial thing, very, very crucial, make sure you go through the lease agreement the landlord is going to give to you. And make sure you understand everything that is in the lease agreement. If there is anything up there that you don't understand, make sure that you are being explained to. Make sure the landlord explains to it for you to understand it before you append your signature. Number one, if the first thing I'll talk about in the lease is the duration. Let's say you took you are paying for the rent in August, in September, in November, in December, and it's supposed to last for 1 year. Make sure that the date that is ending is the appropriate amount of months. Do the calculation yourself. Okay, if I'm paying it on the 25th of this month, do your calculation, first month, second month, third month, all the way up to the 12th month, and make sure that it is up to. Because what I've seen is that some landlords, in a way, kind of make it end the month before the actual month.
Right.
You have to take notice of that and make sure it is correct. Number two, whatever, if they have inventory of item, that is good. But what I've noticed is that most landlords here don't have inventory of items. What I mean by inventory is that a list of things or a document that they inspect the apartment with you that has listed all the stuff that is in the property. If you're taking an unfinished property, most likely you have them. Some apartments do have stove. They do have refrigerators. They do have microwaves, fans and ACs and everything. Internet. Some property or landlords do have those inventories. And so those that do have the inventories, make sure you inspect each and every one of them and their functionality, that they are working properly. Some even have washing machines.
Yes.
Make sure you inspect all those things with them and be satisfied by the way they are working, and then check all those things and make sure they are good. The way the fans are turning around, the way the air is working. Make sure, because I'm very particular about these things, make sure you check all those things. If they don't have an inventory, make one for yourself.
Yes, make one.
Make one for yourself.
And attach it.
Yes, and attach it to the lease.
I would say record.
Yes.
Like record a video. If they don't have an inventory, and sometimes even if they do have an inventory, it never hurts to record yourself.
Right.
When you are picking up the key.
Right.
Either when you are picking up the key or the day that you are moving in before your stuff is in there. Record how the house looks. Record all of the appliances, how they work, all of the fans, how they work, all crevices, corners, tiles, like everything. Just cover yourself. Yeah, before you move in.
Before you move in.
And so in most cases, you'll be excited because you've gotten a new apartment and, the joy. And sometimes you are even stressed from where you are moving from. And so you just want to get in and settle down and then, take a rest. But please take these things very important. Like, Ashley said, make sure you record every conversation that you are having with the landlord and make sure you are at a safer place. Because some landlord will say certain things in the beginning of the rent, and then when the rent is over and you're moving out, because you have your security deposit with them, they might want to deny one or two things or say certain things that they didn't say in the beginning. Right. I'm not saying all landlords are like that. Some, in quotes. Some are very diligent and good in the way, and some are very, easy and simple and easy to do with. So make sure, yes, you have that inventory. Make one for yourself and do all those checklists for yourself. I think I will pause it here and let someone else come in before we go on.
And so, Moses, I think that what you said was really, really, and actually, too, what you guys brought up is really important. Also, be mindful to ask the landlord that you're wanting to lease from when your lease will start, right? Because you can have a years-long lease, but if you prolong the time of you getting into your new place, the landlord might count that time still. And so even though you've made your payment early on for a year's lease, your time might not start when you actually pick up the key. It might start at the time that you make your payment. And so just be mindful of that, because you can cut yourself out of a month or so if it takes you a month to get into your new space, right? And so you only have 11 months, 10 months in your space as opposed to a whole year in your space, right? And so all rentals, of course, is not that way, but that's definitely something you want to talk about with your landlord. When will my lease start? Will it start at the time that I pick up my key, or will it start at the time that I make my payment, right? It's two different things.
And so, go ahead.
Another thing I want to add on is that, after doing all these checks and everything, don't also forget to check or probably ask around even before you make payment or something. How often do their water flow? Do they have constant water flow in the area? Do they have constant electricity flow? How often do the lights go out? Because it's not like a second nature now. You have to really make sure that you are being in a zone that the light doesn't go off as often. If you're that person that kind of work from home, and imagine you having lights out constantly, it's going to affect your business. Or probably maybe you are not too much familiar with heat, and then the light goes off. Maybe in the middle of the night. So ask all those questions. I'm sure the people around, the landlord might give you a general overview because they really want you to take their place, so they might not tell you the hard stuff that you really want to know. Yes. But when you ask around the people, the neighbors and other people around, some will be friendly enough to tell you how often the light goes off, how often the water goes off, and then you kind of weigh it and see if you'll be very okay, or you can adjust to it. And so it's very important. Another thing to look out for is accessibility to the place. Right. You have to check how easy it is for you to access your apartment, because I'm sure it's not every time that you're going to come back, go somewhere and come back home during the daytime. There are times you go somewhere, probably it could be like you travel or you went for a tour or something, and then you have to get back home late. You have to make sure that the area or the place is actually a place that is close enough to either a major road or even somewhere you can get a motorbike or a taxi or an Uber to take you home. Because if not, then what? You'll be left with yourself to walk through, the darkness. Doesn't have enough street lights even on the road leading to the place at night. You have to check that, especially if you are, all by yourself and you're a woman. You have to check all those things. Because, maybe at night you need something really urgent, maybe around 8, 9, you need something really urgent that you have to, go and get it. Is it close enough? Do they have shops around, that you can actually walk to and buy something urgent, And so these are some of the factors you have to be looking at.
That's really important. And there are different, of course, we all know, no matter where you live, there are different types of landlords. And so what really protects us all is what's in the lease. And so we really need to make sure that anything that is concerning you or anything that you yourself would want to be in the lease, when you guys initially sit down to go through the lease together, that you raise those concerns. For us, in one of our spaces, it was important that it was mentioned in our lease that our landlord should give us previous notice before entering into the place. And that's not, oh, sorry. That's not in I hope y'all can hear me. That's not in everybody's lease, but it's something to look out for. And so if you're the type that, would like prior notice, which many of us from the States, we're used to that. Like, please let us know previously before you enter our place. But yeah, every landlord is not like that. We did have a landlord that was like, hey, same day I want to pop up when y'all free. And so yeah, these are things to think about too.
Okay, and so I know you guys are like, okay, you guys have talked about rentals before. Like, why are we revisiting this topic? Okay, and so one of the reasons that we're revisiting this topic is because Ashley and I did have encountered a situation with our lease, right? So, as you guys know, we've been here for over a year now, right? And so we have moved from the Accra area. We're now located in Volta, right? And so we're in the beautiful Volta area. And so, of course, our lease that ended in Accra, we had to go through the process of ending the lease, right? And so that whole situation was that whole experience was really an eye opener and a teaching moment for us all, really, right? Including Moses, right? So it's a teaching opportunity for everyone involved, right? Because we actually engaged in a process that we really wasn't familiar with, but we were glad to find out that this was an option that is available. And of course, we want to share that with you guys, right? And so, at the end of our lease, we had, well, at the beginning, let me start at the beginning of our lease. The landlord that we leased from, we had a really good relationship with this person. It really wasn't a bad situation, right? And they were really like helpful. We want to make sure that you're comfortable. I want to make sure that you're okay. Anything that you need, you can come and ask me for it. So anything that went on throughout the year, we would just send them a message like, this is going on, this is happening, we need this to be fixed, and it wouldn't be a problem. They would send someone out or get it fixed some kind of way. Right. And then so it wasn't until we went to end our lease and we sent a letter to let them know, just like in the States, you would send a letter and say, listen, at the end of this lease, we're not going to renew. And so we're going to go ahead and close it out so that we will be able to have an inspection done in order for us to receive our deposit back. From that situation, OMG, all schmeck of the schmeck broke loose, and so we. I don't know how to say it. Like all kinds of stuff broke loose, right? And so we began to get pushback from the landlord. We wanted them to come and inspect our place, and they didn't have the time to come and inspect the place. They refused to come to inspect the place. They wanted to do it while they wanted us to hand over the keys and just let them come and inspect at their own leisure. And that's a major red flag.
Right.
No, we don't want to do that, because if we give over the key to them, that means they can come in at any time and just, say that everything in there is wrong. Right. And so our goal was to have them come in and inspect with us so that we both are there and we're both walking through the house and we're both saying what is good and what is not. And so I'll stop right there, and Ashley looked like she want to say something.
I mean, I was just going to say that it was, like you said, yes, a major red flag that this landlord was not trying to avail herself for an inspection, with us. She was saying that it was okay for us to just, leave the key and, she'll come and inspect by herself. But that's such an issue because, I mean, at that point, you can say anything is wrong. At that point, you can say anything is wrong. That wasn't wrong when we were there. And you can be like, well, y'all are liable for this. And because the security deposit is still with the landlord, that presents a problem. And when we initially signed the lease in the beginning of our lease, we all walked through and did an inspection together. And so why at the end of the lease now it is an issue. And so that is one of the major things that caused us to be like, something is not adding up here. As we're trying to get this landlord to come in to do an inspection, we were planning on leaving out of the region. We're leaving out of Accra. And so it's coming closer to at the end of our lease date. And so on the day that our lease ended, we still calling. And we called like, hey, today is the end of our lease day. Are you coming?
Well, before then, right? Because before then, we
Mhm.
had called her and told her, like, we gave her the notice, right? So we're not going to renew. And we tried to schedule a time for her to come to do the inspection. But she told us that she was going to a funeral. She was going to be out of town. She was gone to a funeral. And so we were feeling like, oh, sorry for your loss. You're going to a funeral, but we asked them, will you be back, prior to our lease ending to do the inspection? Oh, no, don't worry. I will be there to do the inspection. Don't worry about that. I'll be there. And then we got to the end of our lease, the day that our lease ended, and so nobody showed up, and so we started calling like, hello, like, we're waiting on you to come and do the inspection. How are you doing? I pray you are okay, and but when will you be by to do the inspection? And it is at that point that the person kind of just refused, right? She kind of refused to show up and do the inspection. She wanted us to just leave the key and just go, and that she would come and do the inspection at her own leisure and during her own time.
She made it clear she was not coming. Like,
right.
know.
She said, no, I don't have. And who does that? Who says, no, I don't have time to do an inspection on a place that you yourself are renting? Like you put it on the market to rent it, right, and you want to make sure. I would think that you would want to make sure that everything in your house is okay before you just have people leave, right? And so that was a major issue for us, and we were like, no, you're going to have to come and inspect this while we're here. And because we were leaving to come to Volta, this is why it was such an urgency, because Volta, for those that don't know, is about 3 to 4 hours away from Accra. And so I'm not trying to be in Volta arguing with you in Accra about what was going on, like if something is wrong that you say in the place, when we can both inspect it before we leave, right?
Also, I just want to let y'all know that when we had called her on the day of the end of our lease, we had found out that not only was she back in Accra, because she said that she had traveled out for a funeral, and we gave our condolences. But we found out that not only was she back in Accra, but she had been back for a while.
Yeah,
and we're like, okay,
if she even went.
I mean, if she even went,
we don't
but
even know if she went.
I would like to say that she would not lie about that.
Yeah,
that she went, but she's been back, and she just did not let anyone know that she's been back.
So, I mean, to this point, we realize that there's a whole lot of things that can actually go on when you're about to terminate your lease. And so, for people out there who get to this point and they feel like they don't know what to do, they feel like, what is the way forward? How am I even going to get through all this and still get my security deposit? Mm-hmm. What I want you to know is that there is a unit of the government here in Ghana about rent, and it's called the rent control. Most people think that the rent control is not active. Most people think that the rent control is not functional, but I am here to let you know that the rent control is active, it's functional, and they are up to their tax. I'm not saying this to kind of discredit anyone who has had a bad experience with them, but for what we have been through and for what I know per my experience, the rent control is up to task, they are functional, and they are there for you. And so you can take them to the rent control. Either you are the landlord and the tenant is misbehaving, you can take the person to rent control. Either you are the tenant and the landlord is trying to do one or two things with you, you can take them to rent control, especially you being a foreigner, that you feel like, there is no one here to speak for me or to help me through this. The rent control is always there for you. But before you go to the rent control, make sure you are clean. Make sure you are very clean. The reason why I'm saying make sure you are clean is that make sure you have done everything in the lease. You have done everything right in the lease. One, the lease most times will tell you, notify the landlord that you will not renew your rent when it's due 3 months before the rent is due. Make sure you do that. That's why I'm saying take everything in the lease serious. And again, I forgot one thing when I was talking about the lease. Make sure that the date at which your refundable deposit or your security deposit is supposed to be paid is very clearly understood by both parties. Like when you are going through the list before you sign them, look at the portion where your security deposit is supposed to be paid and know when, and make sure you are okay with that time. Because some landlords kind of put it in a situation that will take like 3 months. You know, for instance, in one scenario was like 45, 45 days.
45 days.
Yeah,
Up
to 45 days. But in some cases, the landlord, after inspection and finding the whole place intact, is supposed to just give you your security deposit.
that same day.
Unless that same day, unless you have kind of messed up the place or spot something that needs to be fixed,
Right.
then both of you have to go back and forth to assess it, bring the technician in. Both of you assess it, and then you know the cost, and you know that obviously once this is fixed, it's going to be taken out of your security deposit. But make sure you are clean. Yes, make sure you inform them prior time, and make sure you are prepared to leave the exact day that your lease is going to end. The reason why I'm saying that is, if you don't do these things, one, inform them 3 months before time. Two, get them to come and do the inspection with you before your day is up, like your lease is up. The reason why I'm saying all these things, so that you do all these things right. Because if you go to the rent control, she can be using some of these things against you, because it's rightful. If your lease ended today and then you stay for tomorrow and tomorrow next, she has the right to charge you. And that price it's at her prerogative as to what price you want to charge.
Right.
It's different from whatever lease term you're going to. She can decide to consider 8 days to be a month. Now the rent control has to sit in and know that whether she's being reasonable or unreasonable.
Right.
But she can use that against you. So make sure you are prepared to leave at the exact day that your lease is up. And so that is one of the things. And so the rent control is there for you. For us, can I go in with that?
No, good. Yeah.
For us, on the D day, because we have already spoken to her, just as they said earlier, to come and do the inspection about 2-3 occasions, and then she was not showing up. On the D day, we called her and she was like, "I'm not coming." And so we are like, "Okay." I'm like, "Don't worry, everything is going to be fine. Let's go to the rent control." So the following morning, because the time was late and we were like not too sure if you're going to meet the rent control at their office or not. So we went the following morning straight to rent control and explained our situation. And they are like, okay, they typed the letter for us. They asked us of the name of the landlord, his address, whatever that, it's about her business area and all that, her phone number. So they typed the letter for us that, look, do you know where the person lives? Go and serve this letter to her that the rent control demands her or him to come. I can see you have something to say.
I was gonna say something else, but looking at where the story left off, I had never served anyone with anything in my entire life. I was like, serve someone. They was looking at us like, yes, like
Go give it to them.
here's the letter. Find her where you know her at and give her the letter. But I will say that rent control, one is a government building, so it's downtown Accra, where all the government buildings are. When you go there, they're gonna ask you to explain your situation and make sure you bring a copy of your lease with you.
Right.
So they're gonna ask you to explain your situation, and then they're gonna go through the lease and they're gonna hear what you have to say. And if they be like, well, okay, because for us, it was like, okay, like it sounds like this person is trying to keep your security deposit is essentially what they told us. And we were like, oh, okay. So they wrote us, like Moses said, they wrote us a letter that we can serve her, and they gave us our court date. Now, also keep in mind that comes with a filing fee. And so when you go through these processes, it's frustrating, but at the same time, you have to pay something for them to continue. And so the filing fee, even though it wasn't even bad, it was 100
No, I think it's 50.
50
The
CDs.
first one was 50 CDs.
Yeah,
Yes.
50 CDs for the filing. Yes, it was 50 CDs for the filing fee. Now, at the end, this situation escalated, so we ended up paying another 50 CDs. But we'll get to that, I guess. But yes, keep in mind that it comes with a filing fee.
Right. And so, just as they said, you have to, like I was saying earlier, just come clean. When you go to the rent control, take your time to explain things to them. So we did explain our situation to them. They also take a look at the copy of the tenancy agreement we have. And then they were like, okay, now we see where this is going. Now, this is a letter. Go and serve your landlord that rent control has ordered her to come
Right.
for us to, talk about this. And so we went ahead to look for her to serve the person the letter. And funny enough, they refused to show up.
I mean, refuse.
Yeah, they refused to show up to accept the letter. And so we went back to the rent control, and rent control was like, ha 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 ha. This is
What they say,
interesting.
Moses?
Ha 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 ha. We've seen this type, we've seen her type, we've seen his type, we've seen this type before, so don't worry. Now, rent control has the power to give you a letter for you to go to the police, for the police to assist you to go and serve her, the letter they have given you. And so the rent control added an additional letter, and this letter was to be taken to any police station for them to give us policemen to go to this person and serve her the letter that the rent control has given to us.
And so I know you guys are like, man, this is a lot that you go there. But it really is. And we really, we thank and praise the Most High that we were able to go through this situation, because we're able to bring this to you guys as like a learning opportunity, right? Because it definitely was one for us, right? And so I was like, oh my goodness, we came here. We already had the issue. The lady didn't want to come. This all started, by the way, with an inspection. This is not even talking about security deposit.
Right.
We just wanted her to come and inspect the place, right? But so this all started with inspection. She refused to come. Now we're at the situation where we not only got a subpoena to try to like give the lady the document to be in court, but she refused to come. So now we had to go back to the rental office and tell them she didn't want to come. And so they said, no worries, take this letter and go to the police department. And so at this point, it can seem overwhelming for a person, because it seemed overwhelming for me, because I found myself in the back of the police car. We're going down the road with the sirens, going to give this letter to this lady. And I'm thinking to myself, man, this is a lot to go through just for someone to come and do the inspection. But it's a process that you have to go through, because this person was really trying to keep a security deposit. And that is not, that wasn't the right thing to do. And so just be willing to go through the process, right? Because when you get out on the end of it, it'll be for your benefit. But you have to go through the process.
And we went to the police station that was close by, in her vicinity where she stays. And so the police, we went to the officer in charge, and he called us some man. It's like, look, we have this letter from rent control that this person is proven stubborn to receive. Just go with these people. And the officers were like, where did this person live? Hop into the car. So they put us in the police car, and they drove straight to the person's place. We got there, and after we went to the person's workplace, but she wasn't there, and so we have to rely on the workers to call her. But they did call her, and they were like, she's not responding. And so the police officer, the police officer was like, give me his number, give me her number. And so the police officer called, and she picked up. And then they're like, look, we are not here to kind of arrest you or do anything. We're just here to serve you a letter from the rent control. Where are you? Just avail yourself, let us serve you this letter, and then our job will be done here. And she was like, okay, where is your station? I'm far away right now, and I'm coming over right away to meet you. I'm like, if you know you're going to accept this letter, why let us go through all that to accept the letter? So to cut a long story short, she came to the police station to meet the police officers, and then we were able to serve the letter for her. And knowing that, now this is what people do. When she opened the letter, she realized that some of the offenses that she's looking to commit is that she's refusing to do an inspection with us. And so after receiving the letter, the court date was around 8, like about a week ago, a week after. But knowing that the court will ask her, have you done the inspection or not? Then after receiving the letter, she called us in some few days.
What is it, 4 days after we ran around all day to find her? Oh, she gonna pop up and say, oh, I'm available today to do the inspection. If you knew that you would make time, why did you do all of this saying, oh, you're not gonna show up, and oh, I'm busy, just leave, I want to do it by myself?
And so that's what happened. She finally came to do the inspection with us. But coming to do the inspection, she came with a whole battalion. Like,
She did.
Oh my God.
she came with
so many
her
people.
cousin. She came with, I think we were living in an estate, so she went to call the estate technician,
manager,
the manager, and then the technical officer.
Yeah.
to come and inspect all this place. And well, the place is just left the way it was.
Right.
Just to cut the long story short, she just came to do this. I don't know if you want to say something about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that she initially told because we called the management at first, right? She was refusing to come to do the inspection, so we called management and we asked the management to come and do inspection on her behalf so we can just go about our business. But the management said that they can't do inspection, that it has to be the owner.
Yeah.
And so we're like, well, okay, well, the owner is like refusing to come. But then when she do decide that she want to come, she pops up with the manager. Like, we're like, well, hold up. You said that you couldn't do it, but now you're here.
That's something
And so,
that's a bad spot for the management office. Yeah.
And so just understand that sometimes when you're in the estates, the management of the estates would have the best interests of the owner, the landlord at hand. They might not have your best interests at heart. Just have that in mind as well. But the most important thing, guys, is just to cover yourself, right? When you know that everything in the place is the way that it was when you received it, nothing is wrong, you didn't do anything crazy outside of normal wear and tear to the place, then you can rest assured that everything is going to be okay. You just have to go through the process of making people to do the right thing, right? People who are refusing to do the right thing, you have to go through a process to make them do the right thing, right? And so this is not always in every rental situation, but just to be mindful that these things do happen, and what you can do to kind of protect yourself even in the beginning at the start of the lease, right? Things that you can put in place to protect yourself so that if a situation like this was to happen, you do have recourse, right? You do have a way out, a way of help.
And I will say that there are so many horror stories about tenants here in Ghana, especially when it comes to diasporans who have rented places here in Ghana. And I'm not sure if they knew, because we ourselves did not even know that rent control was an office, right? It was an available office that actually it worked, and it wasn't slow, it was fast.
Yeah.
And so these are tools that are available to us. Share the tools. I want everybody to know this information, because these situations, they happen, and they happen often. But I never want people who are coming back to Ghana to ever feel like, oh, this happened to me and there's nothing that I can do about. Oh, Ghana just doesn't have any systems. There's a system here, and it works, well. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I was saying. You gotta
be willing to use it.
I always say that people who say Ghana doesn't have a system, when I hear that, I laugh. Wait until the law grabs you. Then you know that there is a system. Yeah. Wait until you do something bad, or you do something wrong, and then the law grabs you. Then you really appreciate the system of Ghana. Every country kind of have a system, though, just that the way that it works at a different place might be different from the way it works here. And so yes, rent control. Should I go on?
Yes.
Yeah. So rent control at the end of the day, the time was up. We went to the court, only to find out that there are millions of cases. We were even shocked. Millions of cases. That particular office of rent control that we went was actually dealing for the day, to the extent that they have different, rooms for different cases. And so we got there, but things kind of, even though the place was overcrowded, but things kind of went smoothly and fast. Mm-hmm. It got to our turn, we went in there, and please don't be afraid. They are not there to scare you.
Right.
What I want you to know is that they record the conversations, which is good.
Right.
So don't go about, being angry and cursing people over there. At the end of the day, all those things will be used against you. So just, if you know what you've done, like I said earlier, just be clean. Mm-hmm. Be clean and make sure you have done the right thing. And if you go there, everything you've not done, say you've not done. Everything you've done, admit and accept, and let them hear both sides. And at the end of the day, they are going to, vindicate you if you are right. If you deserve, to be vindicated, they are going to serve you right.
So when it comes to the court date, I was nervous. I know I can speak for my own self, but y'all, I was so nervous. I was like, I've never been to court in my life. Now I have to go. I have to go before a judge and explain what happened. Me and mom. Mm-hmm. But all of the nervousness when you get in there, it's a private room. It's you, it's the your landlord that's also with you, and it's the judge, and also there is a witness, another person that is there. And so the judge, even himself, was very nice. You know, he
Yeah.
was stern. He was a
Right.
judge, but he wasn't like, you know, angry or anything. And so, yeah, there's nothing to be nervous about. All of your proof that you have, bring it with
Bring
you.
it with you. Yeah.
Your lease, bring it with you. All of the videos that you took, bring them
Pictures.
with you. Yes,
Yeah.
pictures.
Text
Text
messages.
right, text messages, conversations between you and your landlord. Bring them all. Screenshot everything.
Everything.
All of the evidence. Bring it, because even though you speak what happened, if the judge comes to a point of contention between stories, he's going to ask for evidence. Like there's going to be a time to
Right.
bring all of that out. And
After the judge listening to both sides,
Mhm.
he realized that, you know, the story was clear. It's like, okay, have you gone to do the inspection? She was like, yes. She's like, okay, now is their security deposit. What do you say about that? And, you know, all praise to the Most High. She said, okay, I have it here with me.
Mhm.
But one thing I liked about the rent control is that they were firm in their decisions. They're like,
Yeah.
where is it? And the person is like, oh, it's a check. Please make sure the rent control take charge to receive the money and give it to you. Don't just say, oh, because he or she say, I have the money with me, so you're going out to sort things out. No.
Right. No.
So she came with a check, and then the rent
Right.
control is like,
We
yeah,
don't do
we
checks."
don't do checks.
All praises to the Most High, right? Because that thing would have bounced. It'd have been like,
Yeah, we don't do. Yeah, we don't do
check would have
checks.
been bouncing, honey. That thing would
It's
have been
cash and
like.
carry. It's cash and carry. At the end of the day, they made sure that she went out to cash out whatever check it was. And the judge and the person in charge of that were patient enough to wait on until it got to a point that she was not even showing up based on the time difference.
She was.
They
not.
came out to request for her number, and they called her that, look, we are still waiting for you to bring. And so they made sure that everything was settled and done in the day. And it went smoothly. So people out there who think that, you know, they have nothing or nowhere to go or no one to help them in situation, it might not even be just the termination of your lease. It might be you are staying in a particular apartment, and all of a sudden your landlord shows up to increase the rent unreasonably. You know, they have a law that protects you actually in that. So you can always run to the rent control. Whatever thing that your landlord is kind of doing that is not good, you know, you can also report
it
to the
before,
bring it
yeah.
before them, and they will sort you through. Just make sure you are always good, because if you are doing something bad too, guess what? The landlord also has the right to take you to rent control, and they will put you straight. You know, they will put you to tax.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that it's important to I think it's important to know that the rent control does have your best interests at heart, as long as you're doing things the right way. Right. So if you're doing things according to what's written in your lease, you're good, and you can go to the rent control with all confidence that everything will work out for you. Right. And so yeah, the rent control for us, it was a smooth, straightforward situation. We told our side of the story. She told her side of the story, and we had proof of our things, and some things she couldn't prove. And so, you know, and so she can prove some things on her side, but at the end of the day, the judge was impartial. He was fair, right? It wasn't any feeling of he's on her side more than ours because she's Ghanaian. No, it was like, really just give me facts, and that's all we're working off of. Give me proof, and that's all we're working off of. And that I can appreciate that was the situation, because it really let me know that just because I'm seen or considered as a foreigner here doesn't mean that I don't have assistance and help when someone is trying to do wrong by me. And so, yeah, I can appreciate that process. Now, it was a process. You had to go through the process. It took us 2 full days, 2 separate but full days to handle the situation. But if you're willing to go through the process, the system will work for you if you're in right standing, right? And so this is why we say that it's important to understand your lease, to understand what's written in it, and to make sure that you agree with everything that is in it. If you paid your rent in USD, you will get your rent back in USD. If you pay your rent in CD, you get your money back in CD, right? And because of the conversion rate, right, at the time of you paying your deposit and the time that you get your deposit back, it doesn't matter. You paid 700 in USD, you get 700 USD back, right? And so that. I believe was the issue, right? Because there was a big change in the conversion rate from our within that year. But you know, everything worked out. There was a cost involved. The judge did see the case our way. He did rule in our favor. We were able to get our security deposit back in full, right? In full. And yeah, there was also a fee that we had that we both parties had to pay. So just keep that in mind as
If you made it this far, make sure you like the video and subscribe if you want to be part of the family. Hi. The Most High was really moving in our entire situation.
Yeah, he was.
And so, I mean, maybe that's something that we'll bring up at length. Maybe we'll have a testimony video. But oh my gosh, even since we've been here, I can go on about this a lot. But the Most High has shown up for us like time after time after time after time. And he's still not even done. So all praises.
All praises, all praises, all praises. I think yes, much is said and much much information is put out there. So yes, just to remind you that the rent control office is functional, and go there anytime if you feel like you are being cheated or being mishandled by your landlord in a way that you don't like. Don't feel like you have no one to help you or nowhere to go, or
Right.
The rent control office is over there. They only deal with issues with rent, so
Right.
don't
Don't
go
say
there
that.
with different issues.
Okay.
They only deal with issues with rent.
Right.
Yeah, so if someone is trying to enter your window and break your window, and you have to go to the police, and then they will handle it differently. But they are there for you, and they are going to take you through as far as you have done the right thing. Now, if you go and then you are at fault in terms of tearing up the apartment and doing some other unwanted stuff, they are also going to let you know. Like Madam Sadie said, they are just,
Right.
they are not biased,
Right.
they don't do favoritism, they are very fair. And so, yes.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so I think we've reached the end of the video if nobody has anything else to say. If you made it to the end of the video, yay! We thank you so much. If you haven't hit the like button, please like, share this video. Please share this video
is a share.
because I feel like this has so much information that can help so many people, especially if you are coming back to Ghana, if you're thinking of coming to Ghana, even if you're Ghanaian, and you don't know. Just it's so much information here. So share the video. And if you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing to our channel. And we will see you guys on the next video. Bye.